What's up to all my freelancers and creatives? This is Nathan with another episode of Freelance Jumpstart. In this episode, we're going to talk about choosing a name. Now, technically, I already did an episode about how to choose a business name. And if you're not sure about that, you can click on a link that I'll show and even put a link in the description of the first video. But in this episode, it's a little different. What type of name should you choose? Should you just go by your given name, so your first and last name.com, or build your business around your actual personal name? Or should you take the time to build out a business name, or maybe even use your name like Nathan Allotey and use Nathan Allotey Design? What are the benefits? What are the trade-offs? That's what we're gonna dive into. The first thing I'll say is it's easy to look at another business and simply just copy their naming principle, looking at an agency, looking at other designers, and just emulate or copy what it is that they do. But I will say it's never good to copy people without knowing the specific reasons behind the choices they made. It's easy to look at a business and think the reason they're successful is because of how they set up certain things. But if you don't ask why they did what they did or how they got to where they are, you'll miss out on the entire story. And their story is more important than the decisions they made. In my case, you'll notice that I own nathanallotey.com, and that is a website that I have where you see I talk about design, I talk about the business of freelancing, I offer consulting, web design services. I'm really just teaching on that site. But my actual business name is In Focus Media, and I own infocusmedia.com. That's what I pretty much do my business under. That is what my legal documents are under. And when I file my taxes, it says In Focus Media, and I put Nathan is the owner of that. But the reason that I have both sides of it is this type of story. So here it is. When I first started, it was very difficult for me to settle on a business name. I kept trying to choose a name and other people already had the name. It already existed. I couldn't buy the domain name. So finally, I just settled on the name and moved forward with it. But when I had that specific name, that's what I had on my business cards, and that's what I would tell other people. However, it didn't really stick in their minds because, I always had some type of networking or personal or professional relationship with people. They always remembered my name. So whenever they would talk to other people, they would say things like, "Oh, you need a website. You need to talk to this guy named Nathan. Yeah, Nathan Allotey. You need to talk to him." They would always say that and wouldn't really say, "Oh, I know a guy who runs this company called In Focus Media. Give In Focus Media a call." They would always use my name. And when I thought about it, I said, what if people are searching for me and can't find me? Because they're not searching by my business name, they're searching by my personal name. So this allowed me to think and say, I probably need to get my own personal name as a domain name and build a little bit of SEO around it. So whether they search my business name or my personal name, it shows up. Now, on that note, I want to give a quick sidebar. It is hugely important to control Google. And what I mean by that is a lot of times if you search your name or your business name, what comes up in the Google search results? Is it what you want to see? Will people get confused? Will they be able to find you in a sea of thousands, if not millions, of the websites? How can you be found? The key is you need to start creating content as well as syncing up social media profiles to your business. If you set up your business under your personal name, then that name needs to be used and be put in the forefront. And everything that you have on Facebook, on Behance portfolio website, on Dribbble, on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it might be, and all those social media profiles, you need to project your specific business is synonymous with your name. So if you are a logo artist, or you are an illustrator, or you are a hand letterer, on all those social media properties I mentioned, you need to write that down. On all those social media properties I mentioned, you better make sure that you are projecting the very same thing so that if people search your name or your business name, that actually shows up. So really quick, on the screen, you can see an actual list that I've written out of all the ways and all the different types of content that you can actually produce to start projecting more about your business and actually what your business does. It doesn't matter if you are writing articles or writing blog articles. You can get guest blog spots on popular websites and write about your craft, write about your business. And when you're writing, you'll be using your name. A lot of times when you do a guest post, you can put a summary. In the summary, you can write, Nathan Allotey is the lead designer, creative director at In Focus Media that does this, right? So you can actually put both in a guest article that you write. But it doesn't matter what it be. It can be a guest article. It can be creating video content, making videos like these on YouTube, and either teaching something or showing off what your skill is. It doesn't matter if you have a business name or you're doing it under your own personal name. Whatever it is, create content and associate it with that name. Also, you can make a podcast, right? You can do a podcast, interview people in that industry that you're trying to serve, and just project who you are and what it is that you do. So the list, I'd say do a quick screen capture. If you're listening, look at the actual show notes. I will put the image or a link to the image in the actual show notes, and you can actually see what I'm talking about and view the list of things and ways you can create content to control Google. Now that was a long sidebar, but I felt like it was important because honestly, the question that people are asking is, should I use my name? Should I use a business name? Should I come up with something? Should I just put or add what I do at the end of it, like Nathan Allotey illustration, Nathan Allotey video, whatever it might be, Nathan Allotey cinematography? That's the question that's being asked. But in all honesty, the reason I took that long of a sidebar, because to tell the truth, it's not necessarily about what name you choose. It's about what you are projecting and what people can associate with whatever name you choose. So if you decide to choose a business name, that is great. You can operate under that specific business name and still move forward. However, you'll have to take the time to build up a brand, right? You have to take the time to build up a brand. If I call my company Design Palooza, the Design Palooza agency, I have to take the time to take the agency name and build up a brand under that name and all the different types of content that I mentioned. I have to build it up under that brand. Now, one day, if I actually sell the business or want to pivot, I spent all this time building this brand. Maybe I can sell it because the name is there, but I'd have to really take some time and take effort to pivot. If I built things under my personal name, it's my name, it'll always be that. I don't really have to worry about selling my name because my name is who I am, but my name can also be used to project what it is that I do. So I can just move forward with that specific name. If I want to pivot, I could easily say something to the effect of, my name is Nathan. I used to do web design, but now I use all my skills from web design to do video. I can pivot a little easier. People can still know who I am, still know what I'm associated with, and still see my past historical things. So I really feel personal name versus business name, the main thing that kind of stays there in the background is equity. If you build up things with your personal name, the equity in a sense stays. Now maybe you want to pivot and you have to find a way to spin that equity to the new thing that it is that you're doing. But it's more easier to pivot. If you build things under a specific business name, you can still pivot, but based upon the difference of the new thing you're doing is versus the old thing, some of the equity might not translate and it would be harder to get rid of. So ultimately, the main thing that I'm saying, if you heard nothing else from everything that I said, yes, it is important to choose a name. And as I mentioned, I had a whole episode about that. However, the more important thing is, what are you projecting behind that name? Think about it. And like I said, go ahead and do the search engine test. If you search on a search engine for your personal name and you get all these random things that are different and are not associated directly with your business, you might want to reposition yourself. You might want to rebrand yourself. You might want to focus, how can I make sure and update all my social media to reflect that this is what it is that I do and there's no confusion. For some of us, that might mean you have a personal account on social media and you need to make a business account and separate it from your personal account. That might be important because otherwise people search for you and they see you're a great freelancer, a great creative professional, but then they also see you won the national hot dog eating contest. And it has nothing to do with what it is that you want to offer professionally. So it might be time to take it serious and separate those two. It depends. But again, if you just want to build up a business name, it's a little easier because If you have a business name and you project everything under that business name, when people do a search for who you are and they can see you're associated with that business, they might not find that hot dog championship there because they see and only searched for your business name, for your agency name, right? So there's just pros and cons to each. So again, the most important thing is not necessarily what technique of choosing a name you go about doing. It's about what you're projecting. Thank you for taking the time to check out this episode. I greatly appreciate it. If you like anything that I said in this video, give this video a thumbs up. If you're listening on the podcast, feel free to subscribe so you can get content like this on a weekly basis. And any other questions that you all have, ask it. Doesn't matter how you get it to me on my website, social media. It doesn't matter. If I get the question, I'd be more than happy to answer it like I just did this one. Well, thanks again for checking out this episode, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.